All right, this is Run the North with Will and Jason. Week 3 is just about wrapped up. We're recording Sunday night. Got some Chiefs Giants going on in the background. I won the pre-podcast coin flip, and I elected to defer to Jason to talk about the Bears first. So, Jason, let me get you kicked off. Bears come out with a big win today. Safe to say, is this the team that you had hoped for when Ben Johnson took over the head coaching gig?
Yeah, this is a lot more of what I thought it was going to look like. And part of the general saying of like, okay, you hire an offensive head coach, the defense is going to suck, but we didn't expect it to suck this much just because you brought in a former head coach, top DC, and we thought we had some talent on that side of the ball. We definitely have allocated, I think we're top 5 in money spent on defense this year. So you were hoping for more, but yeah, when you have an offensive head coach to win against another offensive team who actually did the same thing and hired an established defensive coordinator, failed head coach as their person in Flus. Bears win 31-14 at home versus Dallas week 3. Both teams end the game 1-2. So Dallas is 1-1 coming in. Bears are 0-2. And a lot was made of this whole Caleb knows Flus, Flus knows Caleb. Johnson's team knows Flus well, but Flus's defenses played well against Johnson's offenses and blah, blah, blah. It really just came down to the team that executed better. I know that sounds so cliche, but Bears, again, could not get a run game going. They had a lot more explosive plays, which was sick. The first touchdown to Rome, 35-yarder, it was an absolute
beauty
rope. It was a press bail on the corner slip, trying to bail out of there, wide open, right in stride, perfect all around. And then the other one was an explosive to Luther Burden, which was sick. That was a flea flicker that I almost shit my pants because Swift just kind of floated it up there.
That looked like it was going to be a busted play. I'm surprised it turned out the way it did.
I saw myself reaching to recover, no, because either that ball is just going to keep bouncing somewhere or Caleb's going to catch it and get smoked. So there was some fun to it too, but overall, I can't say I'm excited. I have to say I'm more relieved, and not in a sustaining way. Just all right, I found something to catch on to while I'm drowning. I got a little piece of driftwood. Hang on, let me just collect my thoughts here. It's maybe we're not spiraling as bad, but a lot of questions to go from there.
You got a little life preserver of hope.
Oh my goodness! And did we need it?
Hey, you touched on that run game too, and that's something that you've talked about previously. Where when you talk about a run game, you can average 5 yards a carry a couple different ways, and the way you want to do it is being able to get 5 yards whenever you need it. And the Bears weren't able to do that. They had some big runs that probably brought up the average, but I was thinking of you when there was just so many of these runs getting barely past the line of scrimmage. So probably a little cause for concern there, no?
Yeah, and one of the interesting things was coming into the week, I'm sure a lot of people in Bears world saw the stat going around that the Bears offensive line and EPA, which is essentially anytime they say EPA, it just means efficiency, whether it's quarterback, running back, line, etc. They were, I think, number 1 in yards gained before contact, but they were 29th in yards after contact. So it's like, that tells me they're getting movement. Now, whether that's a misalignment of scheme to the team or if that's the back just missing the holes, whatever. Because I've also mentioned, too, DeAndre Swift's running style is a little bit more powerful downhill than it was all the dancing. Still dancing. Habits are hard to break. But what I really liked was second half, we got the ball. I think it was third quarter going into the fourth quarter. We had an 11-plus play drive. We ran the ball 11 times in a row, which to me, just fuck yeah, dude. You have an opportunity to hear you're up. He's a pedal to the metal. I'm stepping on your throat the whole game. I'm not taking off the gas, but it was a chance to make a statement. In the first 2 games, we really sucked at fourth down conversions, the ones that we know the Lions are known for. But it took time to build those calluses up and that fortitude and hey, it's just another play. We're going to get it. It's not like the end of the world. Like, oh my gosh, you're going fourth down. And, oh, what if we don't get it? It's like, no. We're going to keep running the ball. Which was cool. We also saw Ben Johnson include the rookies a little bit more on offense. Luther Burden at 100 yards.
I know Bears fans were excited about that. Did Luther Burden get past 100?
Yeah, I think he's 100 or 101 on 3 catches.
There you go.
The touchdown was 65 yards barely untouched. He kind of hurtled over a guy, kind of tripped, kept his feet and went. Good one over the middle, and then a couple of trickerations attempts type of thing. Manungai got some more carries, which was cool. He had one where he just wouldn't go down, which was cool to see, but he kept kind of
then he went backwards.
Yeah. So and that's where Brady was kind of giving him shit for. It's like, you got to kind of know when to go down. Like, I get you want to fight and you can stay up and be stable. Like, that's cool, but got to go down. I'm pretty dead sick and tired of seeing DJ Moore in the backfield. I know he's not getting a bunch of love in the pass game because Rome's now looking like the number one. But I'm pretty over that. And my thought is, it's going around Bears World too. Is he gonna be on the roster next year? He's got a tradable contract. Apparently, I think there's gonna be dead money involved more than we like. But the thought going into this game, we're 0-2. We all saw the stat that 14% of 0-2 teams make the playoffs. If we go 0-3, it's like, dude, there is no excuses. You better be playing your young guys.
Yeah.
Get everybody for next year that's not going to be here next year. Forget about it. And I started running through a list of guys who might not be here next year. Well, that's 2, DJ Moore, 4, DeAndre Swift, 9, Brisker, just because of health injuries, 70, the left tackle, 98, Montez Sweat, 49, Tremaine Edmonds, our middle linebacker. But lo and behold, he had 2 picks today.
Yeah.
Because he's known for having a terrible contract and absolutely no ball production. Well, today, maybe he makes the case. We'll see. 31, Byard, old. And then 85, Cole Kmet. I don't know what to make of that because he's still got 2 more years on his deal, but I don't know what the value of trading a $15 million tight end is or isn't. They tried getting Loveland involved early. He had 1 catch for 31 yards, but then he went out with a hip. And then on defense, they had no choice but to go to young guys because the linebackers were all hurt. So we'll kind of see what that means, but man, it was just really weird to me. There's still an adjustment period. Okay. So I'm going to go in, this is now away from the game, but into the Bears as a whole. But as I kind of wrap up my segment here, every time there's a new head coach, typically we see this really dramatic roster turnover in the first year. And Bears didn't really do that. It kind of seems like they were willing to stay with Poles' idea of the team, whether that's money invested or draft picks from, before Johnson got here. I thought was interesting. But with that too, what begged that question, what started that thought process was the last 2 games, and even today, you don't see a lot of pressure coming on. And we thought that Dennis Allen, our defensive coordinator, would dial up a lot more blitzes, which he has not done. And I'm thinking, well, the personnel have been handpicked to play this bend but don't break, play it in front of you zone defense that Flus had. I don't know if they're playing away from that skill set or if that's the scheme, but it really got me thinking to that. The fortitude, the toughness, the grit, that's all the Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell stuff. But the not blitzing, I get you're down your top 2 and your 4th corner. Like, I get that's tough, and you're down your middle linebacker. Like, it's tough. So I don't know if that's actually helping or hurting or not. But, man, they had 2 sacks of Dak today, and really those were almost lucky because he had all day to throw back there. Not as many penalties today, which was great. 58. Darnell Wright, our 3rd-year pro, is the guy we took in lieu of Jalen Carter. Still struggling with penalties. He got banged up, but who knows? What I'm really not looking forward to, which this thing is growing in our heads in the Chicago podcast world, is Braxton Jones, our left tackle, number 70, is bad. He's not healthy, or he's not that good. He never was good in pass protection. He's great in the run game, but not in pass protection. How typical Bears would it be if by our week 5 bye, we come out of the bye, Darnell Wright's playing left tackle from right tackle, he played left tackle for 1 season as a sophomore in college, and then Ozzie Trapillo's at our right tackle. That's coming up to be more of a conversation, and the way I'm watching Braxton Jones play not well, that's more and more of a thing that's, because we did the same thing with Kyle Long. We drafted him to be a right tackle. Couldn't handle that, played right guard. But he's supposed to be a left tackle because he's a monster and athletic. And it's just like, we can't do this again.
I will say I did notice a lot of pressure coming off the edge against Caleb Williams, which is probably honestly not where you want it to. If you have the choice between interior or exterior, Caleb likes to bail outside. He's not, he's shown that he isn't as natural in stepping up in that pocket and taking that internal space. So when you see the edges collapse around him, that's, not great for the kind of quarterback that Caleb Williams is. So it's unfortunate that you're seeing the deficiency from the tackle position. That being said, you did invest heavily in the interior line, so it's good to see them seeming to hold up fairly well, at least.
At least this game, yeah. It was iffy up and down because, again, they're still gelling. You can't discredit the time it takes to actually build this chemistry as an offensive line. But even then, too, he's only 6. He says he's listed as 6'1". I don't think he's 6'1". You want some clean feet to stay in the pocket too, up the middle. So it's just I mean, last year we were bitching about it was coming from everywhere. So the fact that we could say it's only coming from one spot consistently is an upgrade. Technically, I don't think he got sacked today, if so once, which is way lower than what we're used to as fans. And what I thought was interesting too from the Dallas side is there was 4 minutes, 21 seconds left in the game, down 17. They pulled Dak and let Milton play, the guy they traded a 5th round pick for from New England. He, the fastball thrower. That was he has a just a hose. That was real. Just some. It was cool.
He could chuck it.
Yeah. So it was a good game from the Bears all around. The first quarter definitely felt like it could be a barn burner. Things settle in a little bit, and CeeDee Lamb went out in the first quarter. A guy kind of tackled him funny, landed on his ankle, and that was not good. So that had a lot to do with it.
Well, of note, he got injured lining up in the backfield, which adds a little insult to injury and also goes off your point of you being tired of DJ Moore in the backfield. Like, that's exactly why. These guys aren't used to running. I don't know if you have to get used to initiating contact a certain way as a running back so that doesn't happen, but I'm sure CD was probably not thrilled at lining up as a running back, and then he gets injured, and he's like, what the hell are we doing here?
Right.
I'm your most valuable asset on offense, and you're putting me in a very vulnerable position. So unfortunate to see him get injured that way.
And what was surprising to me from a fantasy perspective is that, okay, well, we're going to throw the ball a million times to Pickens. Well, he dropped one or literally he went to go squeeze the ball and it popped out, and that was one of the picks.
Yep.
And I think he missed another one. He was short or he dropped something, and you see him smacking his helmet on the sideline. That sucks. But the tight end,
that's a George Pickens we know and love, though.
We
love a Pickens crash out.
Less. And then Ferguson, the tight end, who just got an extension, he's 12 or 13 grabs on the game, and he's gassed, and Brady's giving him shit. It's like, don't come out. Julian Edelman wouldn't have come out. It's like, yeah, but Julian Edelman's a foot shorter and not carrying 100 more pounds. But, okay, I'm not going to argue with the GOAT, like, for sure. So, again, a little sense of relief. My 3-word for the game is do it again, because we're week 4. We go with a chance to build some momentum going into the bye. We go to Las Vegas. We have the 3:00 slot, or 3:25, I think, in Vegas next week, week 4, and then the bye week 5. And then we have a tough schedule after the bye week, but that seems to be a team that's also figuring it out a little bit as far as their identity. Definitely different on every level of the ball, both sides, than we've seen before. Haven't done a bunch of homework on them yet. I will, but it definitely feels like this was a good. The word, I don't want to say like statement game, but it is one to be like, all right, everybody chill out a little bit. It's still new. We've been saying there's going to be growing pains, but this is what growing pains looks like. And 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Like it's going to take, you got to give them half a year. The Tom Brady on the broadcast said, give him 4 weeks, give him a month. That's probably more realistic. But when you're deciding on a new regime, first year head coach, all this stuff, give them till Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, hey, overall, great game from the Bears. It was fun to watch. A really great slate of games all week. Across the board, a lot of fun games. I will say one thing. I mean, Caleb's stat line, great. Like, just a tick under 300 yards, 4 tuds.
I wanted that 300 just to prove a point.
Right.
I really did.
I will say you still saw, at least I still saw some of those errant throws that I think he needs to get better on. There was still some meat left on the bones where he missed open receivers, and that's one of those things where, I see a similar thing from Jordan Love, and we've had more tape on Jordan Love where he does make some great throws, but he seems to miss some gimmies sometimes, some of those mid-range gimmies.
More your gunslinger than your field general type. Is that kind of what you're leading toward?
Sort of, yeah. Well, it's just one of those things. I mean, I think that separates the good from the great, is like that consistency. And that's something I'm going to be looking for from Caleb and also from Jordan Love. And whether or not I need to be truly scared of these guys, because as long as I can count on them missing a few balls a game, it's like, okay, that's always going to give defenses chances to get in if you're not accurate with the ball down the field. So great stat line from Caleb. He had some great deep shots, but I did still see him sailing a few balls. And we'll see how that continues to evolve throughout the season.
So as a division rival, how do you see that? Like, looking at a Vikings fan looking at the Bears situation, you see the Bears stomp the Cowboys. Obviously the Cowboys aren't be that great this year, it doesn't seem, after they just had a barn burner with the Giants. Who also might not be that good. What do you think about Caleb? What do you think about the Bears? compared to when we saw him 2 weeks ago when we played you guys?
I'll say I'm more concerned about Ben Johnson than I am about Caleb Williams right now. Again, I still think you need more tape on a lot of these young quarterbacks. I mean, we've talked about this before. You go all the way back to like CJ Stroud's first year. He's getting crowned as like the next Mahomes. That hasn't happened. Jaden Daniels last year, he's looking great. I was like, let me see it in year 2. Granted, he got injured, but didn't look fantastic in his first couple of starts.
They got film on you. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. And again, I still have that theory of, Ben Johnson did not pick Caleb Williams, and is Caleb Williams a Ben Johnson style of quarterback? Who knows? Maybe Ben Johnson is flexible and he can work with it, but I'll say I'm more worried about Ben Johnson than I am Caleb Williams. That's where I'll leave it as a Vikings fan.
Sure. And this is something too where my last kind of thought for the game and the go forward mentality is that it was really refreshing to see them distribute the ball to multiple guys, and guys made plays. DeAndre Swift made a couple plays. Burden, Odunze, Zacchaeus had a couple of clutch third downs. The stat line isn't sexy, 3 for 24, but a couple of nice third downs, couple of gotta have some momentum building plays. DJ Moore had a bunch of touches. He had 3 carries and 4 receptions. So that's 7 touches. If they can keep that type of distribution, keeping the defense honest and still be able to move the ball, you notice they were not in 3rd and long a lot. They started out the first drive 3 and out, 3rd and long. But they were able to stay ahead of the sticks way more than previous. It still wasn't great, but it was definitely better.
Improvement for sure.
And now I'm going to put the big asterisk right here in the corner on everything I just said, because this Dallas defense might actually suck. So
yes,
it's not going to be this easy the rest of the year at any point. But, for fantasy owners, great day. Caleb haters, terrible day. Guys looking for a reason, right?
Right.
So I just, repeat it again. Get your young guys moving early, get them involved, stay disciplined, don't play behind the sticks, and give your kid a chance. That's all I got to say about that as we go into the Raider game.
Cool. Well, let's any last thoughts otherwise?
Game, man.
Sure.
I missed it. I was out doing chores. I come in, I texted you. I'm like, yo, what is going on? The score is already out of hand. There's a couple minutes left before the half. I'm like, there's no way Wentz has just already graduated the school for kids who don't throw good.
Yeah.
So tell me from the first snap to you see some of this crazy happening to the halftime and on. Tell me all the emotions.
I mean, I'll say this. If you had told me before I saw this game that Carson Wentz got benched for Max Brosmer in the 4th quarter, I would have thought, oh no, things have gone terribly. Flashing back to, memories of, oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. Philly quarterback, Donovan McNabb, starting for us after being on the team for a couple weeks and just having a god-awful game. Josh Freeman game comes to mind. That's what I would have thought, but what a crazy game. One thought I had going into the game, I'm driving home, about to turn the game on. I'm thinking about it because I was like, this could be a total toss-up. I thought there was 2 things that would make a difference. One would be Carson Wentz being a more veteran quarterback, having more starting experience against NFL starting caliber talent. And then the other thing that occurred to me was, well, our defense is a lot better than their defense. And in the 15 minutes before the game started, I opened up my Pick'em League and I quick switched my pick to the Vikings because I'm like, I don't think the Bengals, like, it's going to be a defensive game. I thought for sure. Sure. Didn't realize what that was going to mean exactly. Final score, what was it? 48-3. Did they notch a
10.
Touchdown at the end? 10. They got a touchdown at the end.
They snuck one in at the end there.
And what can you say about Isaiah Rodgers? I mean,
I don't know.
2 touchdowns, interception, 2 forced fumbles, fumble recovery. He housed the fumble recovery. He housed the interception. Incredible, great one-on-one pass deflection against T. Higgins in the end zone. Can't play it any better than he did. I mean, PFF's first 99.9 rated player. This legitimately might be the single best defensive back performance of all time. I'm sure people will be comparing it to I don't know how it could be much better. He scores the 3rd touchdown.
Multiple pick sixes, maybe?
It was just nuts. And it was fun. As a Vikings fan, this is a game we are not accustomed to. We're not accustomed to blowing people out in this manner. I mean, we've been a team of 1-score games for 3+ seasons now. Honestly, it got to the point where I was a little bored. I was a little checked out because we were beating them so badly. That is not an emotion I'm used to having as a Vikings fan, that we're winning so hard that I'm like, this isn't even fun anymore. We're just like, just beating up on this sad team. And it was great to watch though. Defense played great. You can't say enough about Isaiah Rodgers. Dallas Turner quietly having a really, really good game. Not too many splash plays, but it seemed like he was in the backfield the entire game, which is great. Granted, Bengals offensive line, bottom 5 in the league, but good to see Dallas Turner having an impact. Really, the entire defensive line looked great. Some of those depth pieces really, really shine today. I'm talking about Levi Drake Rodriguez, one of my favorites from the draft last year, undrafted guy out of like San Jose Community College, something like that.
Those small kids.
Tyrion Ingram Dawkins having some great plays. He was like a 5th, 6th rounder this year. Jalen Redmond having a good game, just creating havoc up the middle, stopping the run. It was just domination top to bottom from the defensive line to the defensive backfield. And really taking a step back, perfect game for where we were at, because also the other thing, the other thought you're having going into this game, and there's lots of discussion about this, is like, well, what happens if Carson Wentz plays lights out? Well, he didn't have to. He did exactly what you needed from the backup. He did enough to look like he can win us some games. Not good enough that JJ McCarthy has to worry about losing his job. And he just really didn't have to do much because of the defense. I mean, again, he was out by the 4th quarter. Right. So it was great that we avoided QB controversy this week. Next week, going up against the Steelers, so that defense will maybe be a little bit more of a test. Aaron Rodgers will probably be a little bit more prepared to handle this defense, but all in all, I mean, just like perfect game for this week for the Vikings.
I remember Van Ginkel picked 6 Rodgers last year with the Jets. That's true. That was a fun one. I remember that little sneak out in a flat under a slant. That was sexy.
Oh, so, and then one final thought. Jordan Mason averaging 7+ yards a carry. I mean, we were begging for this the last 2 weeks. It's really just complete game all around. Good stuff.
I'd be really curious to see if KOC is going to adapt his identity when Jones and JJ get back, just because you probably want to split carry those guys, maybe just put Jones on a 3rd down basis because of the wear and tear.
Exactly.
But I want to ask you specifically about Wentz just a little bit more. Can win some games, not going to threaten JJ, but like usually the backup's got to play 2 or 3 games a year for most teams. So if you're playing a non-playoff team, you probably feel good about your chances. At least it'll be a competitive game. You should be right there at the end. A playoff team, though, you end up playing the Packers, you end up playing the Eagles, the Rams, somebody in our division that might have some serious playoff implications, and Carson Wentz has to start that game. How do you feel about that in general, given today's performance as a whole? Where are you at with that?
Obviously, if you're playing a tougher opponent, you're a little more worried about it. There's probably a little more pressure put on the quarterback to win the game for you. That being said, Vikings have seen a lot of success from backup quarterbacks over the years. I mean, you look at the stable that KOC has worked with over the last 2-ish years. Obviously, he can get production out of it, seems like any quarterback. And you even look back to there were some comparisons made to Case Keenum and the season Case Keenum came in after Teddy Bridgewater went down, and obviously that was an incredible season.
The Minnesota Miracle.
What it's going to hinge on is our run game, I think, more than anything. If we can't run the ball and we're counting on Carson Wentz to win us these games against the Ravens or the Eagles, it's not going to be a good outlook for the Vikings, I think. And additionally, like, he wasn't on the team for preseason. This guy came in after the 3rd preseason game when Sam Howell pissed down his leg like multiple weeks in a row and really proved he couldn't even be a backup.
Sure.
So I think, KOC came out and said JJ's not starting until after the bye. Part of me wonders if it's because he wants to get Carson those in-game reps in case we do need him in those situations. Because, the broadcast saying, hey, McCarthy's walked around without a boot. He looks fine down there on the sideline. So, I think there's maybe a little bit of gamesmanship going on there where it's like, well, and I even said this last week where it's like, if we really needed JJ to play this week, he probably could have, but
Sure.
there's no sense in, putting your essentially rookie quarterback out there a little hobbled, especially after the performance the offensive line had the week before. It's like, let's let Carson get a little more familiar in the system. Let's let that offensive line gel a little bit more.
Yep.
And then, who knows, maybe if we do end up having to put Carson back in there later on the season, we got a better chance against those teams.
And that's exactly where we were texting during the game, like, oh, let's bring this up on the pod. And we had a little bit of a difference of opinion. And I can see it kind of both ways here, but we were talking about that third quarter going into the fourth quarter, like, all right, Wentz, they're up big. And I was kind of begging the question, well, do you play Wentz through the game? Because you had thrown out the idea, well, we're going to see Brosmer here soon. I'm like, well, that's an interesting point, because do you want to get Wentz the reps knowing he didn't go through a camp and knowing he hasn't been a starter for a couple of years, because last year he sat in Kansas City? Or do you want to see what the kid's got, Brosmer, because he's, first year undrafted, all that type of stuff. I can see how that goes either way. I think it's going to come down to, you're at the point in the season, you're in the season. It's not like it's a preseason game. It's like you want to go probably to what you just finished talking about. We want to get this Wentz guy ready to go, because if JJ can't play or this happens again, we are going to rely on him in the same fashion as Case, and gonna need him to make a playoff push, because I don't think there's any change thus far, being 2-1, that you're not full eyes on playoffs, whether that's division or that's wild card, either way. But I still think that's completely your goal and mindset. So that's why I was thinking Wentz. Where are you at on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, KOC obviously knew, because he said this either after the game, before the game, that McCarthy's not coming back until week 7. So you got another couple games with Wentz behind the helm.
That? Okay.
He did. He came out and said McCarthy won't be back till after the bye. So I think if you know that Carson Wentz has a couple more games, it's like, worst case scenario is he gets injured in a meaningless fourth quarter, is the way I'm looking at it. And then also, same thing, like, get Brosmer in there to get him a little practice in case we need him, because KOC has been there where he's lost his first 3 quarterbacks in a season, and so he needs his quarterbacks that are on the roster to have some experience playing with these guys. So yeah, I think putting Brosmer out there in the fourth was absolutely the right move. Keep Carson Wentz fresh, knowing that he's gonna play more in week 4, week 5. And then, a little bit, see what you got in Brosmer, which he did have a good throw to Adam Thielen, which he dropped, but it was a nice little tight window throw. I think that was the move.
So I'm going to ask a question that's definitely going to get us off track here, but was KOC the OC for the Rams the year that Baker Mayfield came and played that one game, signed on a Tuesday, won on a Thursday? Was that sound right?
You know what? I should know. I can't remember.
Morris was the DC, and that's why. I
think he was the OC. I think he was the OC, and the previous season he was the quarterback's coach, and then the offensive coordinator got poached. Was that Matt LaFleur? Because I think Sean McVay had his offensive coordinators poached 2 years in a row, and I think
Robinson was one of them, and he's now in Atlanta. And then Leon Cohen, I think, was with him before he went to college, and then the Bucks or something like that. But yeah, all of his guys go somewhere and get hired. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think, the season that Baker came in for that one game, I do believe that was the season KOC was the offensive coordinator. If we're wrong, I'm sure our viewers will let us know, as someone in our comments called out that I think I said Carson Wentz was the first overall draft pick, and he said, no, Jared Goff was the first pick. He was the second.
Yeah, it was 1-1-1.
Did you catch that when I said that?
Yeah, I let it go.
Okay.
I remember that specifically because I was of my friend group at the time. I was all in on Goff because I just didn't see it with Wentz. Like, I saw the way in the moment, this is easy for me to say now, but like in the moment, I viewed him to end up the same way that Trey Lance ended up. Mm-hmm. I didn't think he'd play as good as he did, just because the small school, no competition. He's got the tools. Yeah, it's, big, strong, sexy arm. Yeah, So that's why I went with Goff. But I didn't think Goff was going to have his tumultuous start. I know obviously made a Super Bowl, but that was more scheme over team because Todd Gurley had that. Like, I think Todd Gurley, I saw a stat, since 2020, he's still like number 4 in active players of touchdowns.
Yeah,
like that's how nasty
insane.
that season was. So Anyway, the question I was going to get us off topic with is about Baker Mayfield. Is he a top 5 quarterback? We'll get to that when we get to the fantasy section of this. We're going to tease that right now. We're going to finish up a bit more about the Vikings game here. Do you think that Hawkinson's all the way back from injury? I know he started the season healthy, but it takes a little bit to get going. And then on top of that, with Addison coming back next week, how do we see that juxtaposition, that balance where, one, again, changing to Wentz, where they have no chemistry in the offseason, adding another weapon? What's the evolution now that your receiving back's out too with Aaron Jones? Like, you have 4 different positions that just changed, new identity. What does that make you think?
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out how good of a coach KOC is. I think he's proven that he can figure it out based on his roster.
Yep.
In terms of what that actually looks like, hard to say. Yeah, I mean, Addison hasn't practiced with Wentz at all. I had the same comment with like JJ McCarthy looking a little rough throwing the ball, but like he didn't practice with Justin Jefferson, and Jalen Naylor was out for part of the preseason with like a hand injury. So
Sure.
Do we see something similar with Wentz? Maybe. I would expect 3-4 targets for Addison over the next couple weeks as him and Carson Wentz start to, develop that chemistry. But I think what it comes down to is like a good running game will heal all. So I think if we can run the ball, it sort of doesn't matter how much chemistry they have. If the teams start keying in on the run game,
yeah,
guys are going to be so open that Wentz isn't going to need that much chemistry with them, I think, is my thought. But again, and it's like, I'm not worried about that because it's like, am I going to be concerned that Wentz now has Jordan Addison to throw to in addition to Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson, and Josh Oliver had a good touchdown today. Jalen Naylor actually playing pretty decently in his increased reps with Addison out. So I'm not too worried about it. I just think, it'll probably be a little slower for Addison to get involved with Wentz under center.
Fair enough. And before we finish up the game, I would be remiss to not give a shout out to the babyface assassin, Will the Thrill Reichert, for a 62-yarder before halftime.
I think so. Yeah.
And that, I mean, and the broadcast was like, with a mile to spare too. So he absolutely nuked that one.
Yep.
Wanted to hear from you. What is your 3-word phrase for the game?
What was that? That's not what I don't know what team that was, and I don't know what they did with the Vikings I know and love, but they can stay. They can get comfy. I like that.
Amen, brother.
But before we move on from the Vikings, there's something I did want to talk about, which is players returning from injury.
Good.
We got Christian Darrisaw back. We got Harrison Smith back. We got Andrew Van Ginkel back. Night and day difference, I would say, with Christian Darrisaw back there. I mean, one, the ability to run the ball so much better. Time for Wentz to pass, I'd say a little better. We still took 3 sacks in the first half, which equaled what McCarthy got, I think, in that game against the Falcons in the first half. And that's when we were still throwing the ball. In the second half, there weren't any sacks, but we barely had to throw. So it's like there wasn't really as many opportunities for those sacks to come. But so still a little concern on the pass protection side. We still are missing not Fries, he's the guard. Blanking on the Ryan Kelly. I always forget his name. Two first names.
Never trust a guy like that.
Yeah. So I think there's still some gelling to occur on that offensive line, especially now with CD back. But man, the team just seemed to feel the difference with Christian Darrisaw back there. So that was a huge upgrade. Having Harrison and Ginkel back, obviously. I mean, even though they weren't really making big splashy plays on defense, it's nice to have that team back.
You got to know where they are. You have to account for them every time.
Yeah. So does go to show getting those guys back really does improve the performance and makes me more optimistic when JJ McCarthy is back under center. I think I saw some tweet that was like, for me personally, if I was JJ McCarthy, I would have preferred playing with Christian Darrisaw, Harrison Smith, and Van Ginkel. Just that's a good point. That is.
I would have preferred playing with Deion Sanders and Jerry Rice and Barry Sanders.
That's right. But that was my last thought on the Vikings. Good game overall.
I love it. All right, so let's tease this before we get to fantasy. Fantasy too, I guess. We'll have to take a look at that. But Baker Mayfield, is he top 5? Is that a weird thing to say? Did you ever think you'd be saying it when he got drafted?
I mean, when he got drafted his first few years with the Browns, yeah, when he took that poverty franchise to like a 10-win season, he looked like it. Obviously, after that,
and beat the Steelers handily in the playoffs.
yes. Then he injures that throwing shoulder, and he played the next year, and he did not look good. He looked like he had very little power, and at that point, it's like, okay, this guy might not ever be the same guy. But today, in my mind, yeah, like I would call him a top 5 quarterback. I don't know. Okay, obviously you got Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, probably. But to your point, like the stats just haven't really backed it up for him recently. But then who are you taking after that, if not Baker Mayfield? I mean, Baker Mayfield just kind of has that clutch dog gene in him that, you know, I think you want in the leader of your team. But really, who else do you take? Like Justin Herbert, maybe? I think I'm really out on Joe Burrow at this point. I think he's got to prove it a little bit more. He had that one nice season and the playoff push, but so what?
But that's what begs the question now. It's like it goes back to your draft strategy. You draft the receiver before the line, or Penei Sewell before Chase, or Chase before Sewell, and you got that image of I'm throwing it. I can throw it to anybody, or I'm getting crushed, and there's Chase down the field. And I think every time he gets hurt, I told you so just creeps up a little bit more. As I'm like, should have taken Sewell.
Yeah. I mean, what other guys we throwing in that top 5 conversation? I mean, Jared Goff?
No,
I don't think so. He's top 10.
When you say top 5, are you talking quarterback in the NFL, or are you talking fantasy?
NFL. I assume we were talking NFL.
So to me, Baker definitely is higher in the NFL list. Goff is definitely higher in the NFL list than other quarterbacks. Like I would put them both above Jalen Hurts, but in fantasy, Hurts is top.
Jalen. Yeah.
So that's why I want to make sure the viewers are clear on this too. That we're not fully transitioned to fantasy that segment yet. Right.
Yeah.
So,
and Jalen Hurts is a good one I forgot about. I'd maybe close it out with Hurts, like just shooting from the hip here. Allen, Jackson, Mahomes, Baker, Hurts. That 5th spot is just so tough because I feel like you could throw Justin Herbert in there. I'm sure some people would want to put Burrow in there. I don't know.
I think would be like 5th, to be honest. If you're going like in a redraft, Allen, Jackson, Mahomes, just because I think they'll take traits over Mahomes anywhere. And he's also limited in his style. Then that's where I think you can talk about Burrow, just because I think like Lamar and Josh are like tier 1. And then there's a drop.
Big drop.
2 and 3.
Yeah.
And it's a shame to say that. I guess you got to keep Mahomes 3 anyway, because he has the pedigree.
Yes.
At this point, like you can't not. It's like you can't bet against him until he loses, right?
And let me ask you: Are we talking we're starting a team from scratch with this guy, or we just need to win one game? Because I was thinking we just need to win one game with this guy.
Way, I'm just tiering him as far as like the guy you want. Because the other question is like, so how many quarterbacks do you draft the coach first, or you draft a quarterback first? Well, there's like 5 or 6 quarterbacks you take before the coach, but then after that, it's like, well, I'll take Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan, with any quarterback over, if depending on where you're slotted.
Yeah.
But it just really starts to feel like all the old heads of our generation are gone. Rodgers, Roethlisberger. So it's like we're in a transition period where, okay, you have those 3-4 guys at the top. That's clear. Everybody else is young or washed is the way I'm looking at this.
Well, I was going to maybe throw Stafford into the mix, but yeah, I mean, he's really teetering on the edge there with.
If you can guarantee me his health, I'll put him top 7.
Yeah.
And that's not really thinking about it too hard, but yeah, because why not put Baker at 5 then? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at least he can move a little bit more than you think. He's slimmed down a little bit. He'll take hits. He'll put his shoulder down.
Oh yeah.
But he's been a lot more durable than any of those guys.
How old is Baker? I'm going to look this up. Guess how old Baker is. I'm going to say 30.
I don't think he is yet.
How old do you think he is?
20, 28, 29? I just found the answer.
It is 30. I'm getting 30 from Google.
Well done.
Dude, these guys get old before you realize it, man.
But that's the thing, is like Herbert's already 27 years old. Mahomes is already 30.
Mahomes is 30?
Mahomes is 30.
That's
Burrow's
crazy.
28.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
But he's going to play till he's 40. Josh Allen's 29 now. Because they're already in, because what is Mahomes? He's in his 2017. He's in his 8th season already? Like, holy buckets, dude.
And that just goes to show you kind of forget about their early years when they're a little rough. It's like a lot of these guys don't really turn into the QB they're going to be until they're 25, 26, 27.
Oh, that's the beginning of your prime now that the way the new age has evolved.
Yeah.
But anyway, how have you well, okay, I got one more. Aaron Rodgers is now 41. Holy buckets. How's we just finished, well, we're about to finish week 3. Monday nights or Sunday night's going on right now. Monday night is Detroit and Baltimore, which is going to have fantasy implications.
Big
But
time.
how's your season starting off in your most important leagues on down?
Terrible. I was really thinking this was not going to be my league. I was between my main league and my family league. I was 0-1, and that one came from a win from less than a point where my team put up like 100 points flat.
Yeah.
Pulled out of the nosedive a little bit this week. I'm sitting at like 88% chance to win. I have Amon-Ra. My opponent has Jahmyr Gibbs, but I have an 11-point lead. So I need Gibbs to not outscore Amon-Ra by 11 points. I feel pretty good about that, but who knows? I mean, it's probably going to be a flamethrower of a match tomorrow night, so anything could happen. That would be my first win in that league. I'm feeling pretty good about drafting Jonathan Taylor. He was a guy I was really high on because he's I always look for the first full year after a big injury. So like Jonathan Taylor, I think he like tore his knee up 2 seasons ago. Last season wasn't quite himself. Towards the end of the year, he was looking like himself. So he has all the talent in the world. I thought they were going to have to lean on him a lot more than they have. But they haven't, which honestly even makes him an even better fantasy asset when they're not having to run it with him 25 times a game. He's a lot more efficient. So that's turning out. The problem I have with my main league is I don't have my bona fide starters. I keep switching players in and out because they do well one week. I'll switch them in. So for example, week 1, I start Dak. He does bad. Justin Fields goes off. Week 2, I start Justin Fields. He does nothing. Like week 1, I start CD. He does nothing. Week 2, I started. God, I'm trying to think of who I put in there. Can't remember, but someone bad. Anyway, I have a wide receiving corps of Cortland Sutton and Amon-Ra, which is fine. But then I have Hollywood. Oh, that's why I subbed in for George Pickens week 2. I put in Hollywood.
Kansas City.
Yeah. So I have Hollywood, George Pickens, and Michael Pittman Jr. So I feel like I'm going to have this constant struggle of like, which one of these guys am I starting in the flex slot? Yeah. Also, I drafted Travion Henderson, switched him out for JCM, which is like, okay, that's kind of just like a toss-up, I think, week to week. Although I did see a nice stat of like fantasy points per touch. And both of those players are top 10, so that like gives me hope. And when you draft the rookie running backs and even the rookie wide receivers, you don't expect them to break out till later in the year. So hopefully I can scrape some wins, and then when they come in full force, like, I can make a late season push. So not great there. Family league, it's like a 50-50 chance for me to win this week. I'm not as concerned about that, but drafted Brian Thomas Jr. And Calvin Ridley have been my starting wide receivers. So, yeah, that's rough. I do have Jonathan Taylor there as well, so that's been helpful. We'll see. I think I just made some misses here this year, and might not be my year.
We're going to have to prepare to figure out what the midseason hits and misses were. Definitely sounds like those could be candidates. I'm having a okay year, I think. I'll start from the least interesting league, the couples league. I'm 0-2. It's because I forgot to swap out a kicker who was on IR before the Bills game. And then last week I added a defense and a kicker. The kicker went into my starting slot. Defense went to my bench for no reason. So I didn't start a defense last week.
Oof.
My bad. This week I'm rolling. Caleb went nuts. James Cook has been my guy in this league. I have him in the sleeper league too, which is the guillotine league, which is keeping me alive. I'm up 30 points right now with Jahmyr Gibbs to go, and they've got Neighbors going now, who has 0 points still, and David Montgomery. So I'm feeling pretty confident about that one. Sleeper, I am not getting eliminated this week. Like, that's all but a given at this point, which is great. My huge spend kind of paid off, so I'll take it. But the one downfall is I have James Conner, who got hurt. He was my RB1 before I bought Henry. So not fun. But I got 65 points, and I got Henry to go and Laporta to go and Neighbors playing, so that's fun. We'll see about that. The Tycoon League, the Keeper Contract League, I am going from probably going to be, well, I'm definitely 2-1 now. I have 111 points with 136 projected because I still have St. Brown and Mark Andrews to go. My opponent is done. He's only got 89 points.
Nice.
So feeling good about that. And I just made a huge trade. I traded away AJ Brown on a 2-year deal, $29 and $33, and Colson Loveland on a 4-year deal. It was 5, 6, 7, and 8, plus my 3rd round pick for Devontae Smith on a 2 in the teens, for Luther Burden at $3 for a 2-year deal, so it'll be 4 years next year, and I have the option to extend him. And then Quinshawn Judkins, $4 on a 5, 6, and 7, a 4-year deal. If you didn't know, AJ Brown had 22 points today. Devontae Smith had 20. Judkins had 16. Burden had probably 20 also. I don't have it right in front of me. But I am dangling a conversation with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's on a 1 year. I'm going to try and get a 1 and a player. And Tyreek Hill. Those are guys, if I'm not doing well, I'm actually trying to sell off my team for next year's assets, but I keep winning. Thanks.
Not a bad problem to have.
So I might have to abort mission here. But I did like the pick swap going from a 3 to a 2. So I got a 1 and 2 2s, which is really where I think the talent's going to drop off anyway for any immediate returns. Mm-hmm. And I drafted a guy out of Seattle, Torrey Horton, rookie receiver, 5th rounder. Last 2 weeks, he scored a touchdown as the wide receiver 3 to JSN and Cooper Kupp. So I put him on a 3-year deal at $1. So if he pans out the next 2-3 years, I can have cost control on a solid receiver. So we'll see. That just leaves me open. Next year, I got a plan for the quarterback slot because I'm going to have Brock Purdy. And I need a tight end because I traded away my future tight end for, the haul of an actual RB2 already in his 2nd game. And, a flyer on another pick and Luther Burden. So feeling better there. There's a cool function, too, where you can put out an auction for your trades and you can put it up to a week. So like, hey, I'm looking to trade Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm looking for this in return. Running back, receiver, quarterback. You can select those, or I want picks. I want cap space. I want guys on a good deal. And people can just bid on it, and you can click and say, this is the winning bid. This is the best bid. So everyone else can see what they need to match or top to get there. That's a fun feature. I can't wait for that to get going. And I'm in between too, because I'm not the commissioner, but there's a group of us of the 12. There's 4 of us that kind of are behind the scenes coming up with ideas, trying to define rules to pose. And we're going to slow draft the rookies this year in the offseason, which I'm looking forward to, which will allow for more chances to do draft day trades.
Sure.
Hey, my guy's still there. I'll come up. I'll pay.
That'll be fun.
Really looking forward to that. And I'm also trying to see if I can't dink and dunk a couple more trades just to get some movement in the league. There's already been a couple small trades going, but it's hey, that's what I enjoy the most. If it's not getting back and forth with guys, wheeling and dealing, money ball on this thing, I think that's going to be fun.
Cool. Sounds like you're in a good position there. Sounds like you're having some fun. Maybe take advantage of guys that don't understand how the contracts are working, but seems like you understand just fine.
Got to do it early because once they wise up from their mistakes next year, they can't pull the wool over them,
That's right. Well, is that everything? Do we run out of stuff to talk about? We have way less to talk about when our teams are doing well.
I was just thinking the same thing. When there's nothing to bitch about, it's really, it's an enjoyable tone, but there's really the depth of it. It's this is good. No, they weren't jumping off sides. There weren't any pre-snap penalties, more than one. They need to tackle better, but they won by 17 points, which is for the first time in forever. I think before we won this game, we had lost 14 of our last 15 games or something going into last year. It's no shit. We're still a 5-win team on paper. Come on now.
Yeah. Yeah, the fun day overall.
It's going to be a good week, man, especially going into the Vegas game. What I'm looking forward to, too, during the week is our fellow podcasters. A lot of the ones that work in the Chicago market are traveling to the Vegas game. They got big shindigs, sending everyone down for tailgates. And, it's the summer getaway. It's the fun game to go to. So those podcasts are always fun to listen to. Mm-hmm. You get some fun surprise guests. They're just in better moods because, hey, after practice, we're going to do a pod and then we're going to go to the pool. It's oh, let's go. You guys are just in a better mood, right?
Yeah. Our invitation must have gotten lost in the mail.
Yeah, no kidding. So, where are you? I forgot your matchup for next week. Who are you guys playing next week?
We got the Steelers in London.
Steelers in London.
Or Ireland, just somewhere in Europe, one of those two. I think we bounce back and forth.
CROKE Park.
Can't say I'm familiar.
I'm clicking on it, but it's not giving me
Dublin, Ireland.
And then you've got those are technically 2 away games for you. So that's kind of cool. You're not burning a home game. So you're at Pittsburgh. That's going to be an 8:30 a.m. game. Week 4, and then week 5, you're at Cleveland in Tottenham Hotspur, also an 8:30. So you got some early Sundays coming up, bud.
Yeah. Hey, no better way to start my Sunday, or no worse way, but hopefully it's a good way.
Amen.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, this has been uncomfortably good because I'm not used to winning. Looking forward to another one? Question mark?
That's right. Well, let's stick a pin in it. It's been Will and Jason with Run the North. We're signing off.